Hello, all you freedom-loving people. More evidence is emerging about the suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk after a vigil was held at the Kennedy Center last night and after memorials and rallies erupted all over the world during the weekend. So, is the world at a turning point? Okay, let's get into it. Today, during an interview on Fox News, FBI Director Kash Patel said that investigators found DNA evidence that links the arrested suspect Tyler Robinson to the scene of the Charlie Kirk assassination.
And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
Authorities say that Robinson jumped off a roof before fleeing Utah Valley University's campus moments after the shooting. They said that Robinson then ran through a patch of woods into a nearby neighborhood, leaving the towel-wrapped firearm in the woods. Robinson is currently under special watch by authorities in Utah, and he is being kept in a separate housing unit. Yesterday, Roy Ramon, the spokesperson for the Utah Sheriff's Office, said that Tyler Robinson will be monitored by custody, medical, and mental wellness staff throughout the detention at the facility. Ormond also said that Robinson will remain on a special watch status until cleared by mental health, which may take several days. After cleared by mental health, he will proceed through our classification process to determine the appropriate housing area. On the same day, Utah Governor Cox said that Robinson was not cooperating.
And anything new on the investigation? You say he admitted that, confessed?
No, not again. He is not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating.
But on CNN, Governor Cox said that other people around Robinson are cooperating well.
Well, some outlets are reporting that the suspect lived with a transgender partner. Is that accurate? And are investigators looking at this part of his life as a possible motivation?
Yes, definitely. And yes, I can confirm that. I know that has been reported and that the FBI has confirmed that as well, that the roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. I can say that he has been very cooperative. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening, and is working with investigators right now.
Governor Cox also told CNN that Robinson may have left behind a note. And today, Kash Patel gave more information about that note.
The written note, we believe, did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
Multiple accounts on TikTok and X are being looked at that allegedly made reference to September 10th and the possibility of a shooting, one of which may be linked to Robinson's transgender roommate, Lance Twiggs. And while much of the evidence already points to Robinson, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino said that the investigation has only just begun.
This investigation is just begun. This isn't even the beginning of the beginning. You know, yes, we have a subject in custody. You know, everybody's innocent until proven guilty in our constitutional republic. However, this is not done by any stretch. Our men and women out there in the Bureau have worked tirelessly all weekend. I just got back to D.C. Last night. And, Kash and I were out there on the scene. We walked the scene. We went through every single component of it. We saw the evidence up close and personal. And we went out there to be able to make command decisions with our team on the ground. And I think the process, although not perfect, of course, I think the process went pretty well considering we got him in 33 hours.
Governor Cox also confirmed that official charges will be filed against Robinson tomorrow when he appears in court. And speaking on NBC, Governor Cox shared what they know about the motive, but he stressed that nothing's confirmed yet as the investigation is still ongoing.
Again, this has been well publicized, but this was a very normal young man, a very smart young man, 4.0 student, I think a 34 on the ACT, went to my alma mater, Utah State University, but was only there for a very short amount of time. I mean, dropped out after less than one semester, and it seemed to happen kind of after that, after he had moved back to the southern part of Utah. Clearly, there was a lot of gaming going on. Friends that have confirmed that there was kind of that deep, dark internet, the Reddit culture, and these other dark places of the internet where this person was going deep. And you saw that on the casings. I think I didn't have any idea what those inscriptions, many of those inscriptions even meant, but they are certainly the memification that is happening in our society today.
Meanwhile, House Speaker Mike Johnson hosted a memorial and prayer vigil for Charlie Kirk at the U.S. Capitol today. Speaker Johnson announced the vigil this morning and said that all members of Congress are invited to the event. Johnson and other members of congressional leadership offered brief remarks at the event. The memorial came a day after many memorials were held for Charlie Kirk around the country and globally, with large groups of people attending. One of the memorials was at Washington, D.C.'s Kennedy Center on Sunday night. At the Kennedy Center, thousands of people gathered alongside about 85 members of Congress. With so many attendees that some were left without seats, the memorial shook with applause after the Pledge of Allegiance, and the crowd sang Amazing Grace to begin the prayer vigil. Then came the dignitaries and Trump administration officials who spoke and prayed for Charlie Kirk.
It's been a very, very difficult week in America. We all know that. It's been a mixture of unspeakable sadness and grief and anger and even fear. It's as if a dark shadow was cast over our country, and certainly here, even on Capitol Hill. The leaders of the nation have been shaken, as have university students and college students and young people all across the country. It's as if the ground was shifted beneath us. We all felt it deep, deep inside. And in spite of that, we remember that our dear friend Charlie would never want us to be overcome by despair. He would want exactly the opposite. You know, Charlie Kirk recruited and trained and educated a generation of happy warriors. And we do well to be reminded that the best way to honor his memory and to honor his unmatched legacy is to live as Charlie did. That's right.
I had a conversation once with Charlie where we were talking about the danger that we both faced from challenging entrenched interests. And he asked me if I was scared to die. And I said to him, there's a lot worse things than dying. And one of those... and chief among those is losing our constitutional rights and having our children raised in slavery. And I said to him at that time, I said, sometimes our only consolation is that we can die with our boots on. We can die fighting for these things. Charlie gave his life so that the rest of us would not have to suffer those fates worse than death. Now it's our job, he's no longer there to lead us, to rush in and fill the breach and win this battle for our country, for God, and for our families. Thank you all.
From Spain and Germany to the Czech Republic, vigils spread across Europe and mourners gathered outside the U.S. embassies. In South Korea, people waved both American and Korean flags and chanted, "We are Charlie Kirk." And in Australia, candles lit up the night as Turning Point USA honored Charlie Kirk in Brisbane. The memorials came after Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica, made her first public remarks on Friday from the office where Charlie Kirk hosted his podcast. During the live stream, Erica promised to carry on Charlie's work.
Cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever. My husband's mission will not end, not even for a moment.
And to continue Charlie's show, Vice President J.D. Vance hosted today's episode of The Charlie Kirk Show in honor of him. Many joined the podcast, including Tucker Carlson, RFK Jr., Caroline Leavitt, Stephen Miller, Susie Wiles, and some other White House staff. And with the first show, philanthropist Lynn Fries announced a $1 million donation to support the thousands of new Turning Point USA chapters that will open across the country. And while President Trump spoke in the Oval Office with reporters about deploying the National Guard to Memphis, Tennessee, he also mentioned the possibility of designating Antifa as a terror organization.
Today, at the request of Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee, who's standing with us, as you know, I'm signing a presidential memorandum to establish the Memphis Safe Task Force, and it's very important because of the crime that's going on, not only in Memphis, in many cities, and we're going to take care of all of them, step by step, just like we did in D.C. We have virtually no crime in D.C. right now, and we're going to keep it that way. It's our nation's capital. We're going to keep it that way, or we're going to federalize it if we had to, but we don't have to anymore because it's in such great shape. The effort will include the National Guard as well as the FBI, ATF, DEA, ICE, Homeland Security investigations, and the U.S. Marshals, and more along the prosecutors. We're going to have DOJ led by U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Tennessee.
Given with all that's going on with Charlie Kirk's assassination and the left-wing violence going on, do you have plans, and actually this is a great opportunity with all these do you plan on designating Antifa finally a domestic terror organization?
Well, it's something I would do, yeah. If I have support from the people back here, I think we'd start with Pam, I think. But I would, if you give me, I would do that 100%. And others also, by the way. But Antifa is terrible.
Are there other groups that you can pick up?
There are other groups, yeah. There are other groups. We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with murder. And also, I've been speaking to the Attorney General about bringing RICO against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation. These aren't protests. These are crimes, what they're doing.
4 months ago, Charlie Kirk was invited to participate in a question and answer debate at the Cambridge University Debating Society, where he engaged with students from the University of Cambridge on topics such as abortion, women's rights, and religion. Sammy McDonald, a history major, was the last student to debate with him, with one focal point of their discussion being U.S. support for Israel's actions in Gaza. He told the BBC, "Nothing political or otherwise can ever justify such a horrendous act or the ruination of lives of those close to him." Despite the profound differences with Charlie Kirk on ideology, Sammy McDonald respected Kirk's commitment to the power of debate. He said, "We both recognize that the ability to debate ideas freely, to speak your mind without fear of violence, is what distinguishes democracy from tyranny and is the foundation on which the American Republic and the liberal tradition is built." He cited the deaths of British MPs Joe Cox from the Labour Party and Sir David Ames, who was Conservative, noting that the younger generation is growing up in a world that is tainted by political violence and increasingly polarized political discourse. He also said, "Even in deeply polarized times, we must never lose sight of our humanity and our respect for the sanctity of all human life. Political disagreement cannot be and must never be a death sentence." Kai Bevan, a third-year medical student, once debated Charlie Kirk on the topic of abortion. He said, "We had our differences, but the expression of those kinds of views should never entail a death sentence. I was mortified." Kai was shocked by the news of Kirk's death. He said, "Never in a million years would I have thought something like that would happen. What affects me most is the fact that someone who, in a non-violent way, goes to college campuses and expresses his views, yes, he's known to be inflammatory, but he's not known to incite violence or physical harm or suffering, and for someone who just does that to lose their life really warrants self-reflection as a society." Archie McIntosh, a 23-year-old student from Norfolk, England, also exchanged views with Kirk on marriage and social issues. He believes that Kirk wanted to make the world a better place. He said, "Despite the fact that I disagree with a lot of his opinions, maybe most of them, he was generally so driven about trying to make the world a better place in his eyes." He pointed out that trying to shut people up doesn't work. Inflicting violence on someone that you think is spreading harmful rhetoric will only turn them into a hero. He said, "I think it will make people think, wow, they were spreading so much truth that they had to be silenced." Tilly Middlehurst is a feminist. She once questioned Charlie Kirk on topics including religion, the changing roles of women, and what it means to be a woman. At the time, she wore a beige knit sweater embroidered with the American flag. She said, "This is not what politics should look like. Regardless of how you feel about Kirk, about violence, about politics, this was disastrous. Political violence like this affects all of us. It doesn't just affect the people that you disagree with. This isn't a step in the right direction." The Harry Potter author, J.K. Rowling, expressed a similar opinion. She wrote in a post on X, "If you believe free speech is for you, but not your political opponent, you're illiberal. If no contrary evidence could change your belief, you're a fundamentalist. If you believe that the state should punish those with contrary views, you're a totalitarian. If you believe political opponents should be punished with violence or death, you're a terrorist." J.K. Rowling's cross-camp condemnation broke the convention of leftists supporting leftists. Her post reminded the public that genuine dialogue must first acknowledge the opponent's right to exist and to be heard. If violence or assassination becomes the endpoint of political discourse and ideological debate, then all discussion will be hijacked by fear, and anyone can become the next target. Although many leftists oppose Rowling's stance, her post has garnered nearly 500,000 likes and nearly 10,000 comments. Many fans expressed admiration, saying Rowling's words in the post were very reasonable. Many left-wing and centrist voters also detest political violence. Some individuals have shifted to the right in response to this incident to demonstrate their stance. Among them is an Australian left-wing influencer, Drew Pavlow. He explained why he shifted to the right in his post on X. He wrote, "He had the exact same views as my Trump-supporting parents who I love. He had the exact same views as half of my extended family, just regular boomer conservatism. And thousands of leftists celebrate him being shot in the neck and bleeding out in front of his 3-year-old daughter. If they want that for Charlie Kirk, they want that for my parents and my other loved ones." Over the weekend, a massive number of people gathered in support of free speech and Charlie Kirk in London. The rally in London was organized by Tommy Robinson, and it featured a live onstage interview with Elon Musk. Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, is known in Britain for his long-standing anti-Islamic campaigning. And more recently, he focused on issues of free speech. According to helicopter footage, at least 3 million people attended the rally, but the Metropolitan Police of London said that it estimated around 150,000 people were at the actual event. Flags filled the crowd. St. George's Cross, the Union Jack, the Scottish Saltire, the Welsh Dragon were seen all around the rally, and some people carried wooden crosses and sang Christian songs, while Robinson told his supporters, "No masks, no alcohol, no violence." The event occurred amid growing anti-immigration sentiment, and it came following the Raise the Colors movement. The Raise the Colors movement first gained momentum on social media over the summer, and it carried into September with Union Jacks and crosses of St. George being raised across England. At the Saturday rally, the crowd raised their voices, some for Robinson and some in opposition of Prime Minister Starmer. Police said that there had been no notable incidents as protesters marched from near Waterloo to the south side of Whitehall. But police said that the crowd was too big to fit into Whitehall, and a confrontation broke out when police tried to stop them from accessing the area from different routes. In total, around 24 people were arrested for various reasons. And during the rally, people also honored Charlie Kirk. Robinson said that Charlie Kirk's legacy to us in Great Britain is the only reason we have hope, that we have a fight, that we're still in the fight, and that we have an opportunity to regain our free speech. Robinson hoped that the legacy of Charlie Kirk has inspired the next generation to speak out. Joining the event online, Elon Musk said, "I want Britain to remain Britain. I think that there's something beautiful about being British. And what I see happening is a destruction of Britain, initially a slow erosion, but a rapidly increasing erosion of Britain with massive uncontrolled migration." Elon Musk also blamed the British government for England's grooming gang scandal. Grooming gang is a decades-long horror where white working-class girls were systematically abused by Pakistani gangs. Over the years, Robinson has made the grooming gang scandal the centerpiece of his campaign. Just days before the rally, General Flynn joined Robinson on Don Keith's show, and he explained why this rally matters.
It's an event about freedom. It's an event about speaking freely. It is an event about who we are as a nation, because it's not just about the United Kingdom, because I know there's going to be a lot of Americans over there as well that are going to be, side saddling there with Tommy and team to say, hey, enough is enough. We're fed up with this takeover. It is a takeover, and people should not be complacent to that idea that this is very real. It's not somebody over there. Like we used to say here in the United States, we felt very protected here in our country with our borders and our oceans, and that the problems were always over there. Same to a degree with the United Kingdom, because it's an island nation and they always felt very safe. But that safety has been disrupted in a very, very significant way by, frankly, the rise of Islamism. And we're having that same problem right here in this country. We're bigger in terms of population and size and scale and scope. But, so we're able to absorb it a little bit differently right now. But the United Kingdom, I think the 10 major cities are run by Islamist mayors right now. So, I could go on rhyme and verse on that issue, but I'm concerned about it right here in the United States of America, because what is happening globally, what is happening certainly in Europe and other parts of the world, it is definitely happening right here in parts of our country, and we can't kid ourselves any longer.
In the meantime, President Trump will travel to the UK tomorrow and will be hosted by both King Charles and Prime Minister Starmer during his stay. This will mark President Trump's second visit to England after Queen Elizabeth II welcomed him and First Lady Melania in 2019. During his visit, President Trump will hold talks at Chequers on the Ukrainian war and finalizing lower tariffs on British steel and aluminum. Meanwhile, the United States and the UK announced a new nuclear energy deal today. The deal includes a partnership between American and Britain firms to build up to 12 advanced modular reactors in northeast England. Also, new data centers are coming, which are powered by small modular reactors in a US-UK joint venture. Another part of the deal is Britain's Urenco is teaming up with California's Radiant to pump fuel into the American market. The Chinese Communist Party recently conducted a major purge of senior military officers. Last Friday, the CCP announced the removal of a group of deputies to the National People's Congress Standing Committee, including several high-ranking officials and military generals. Among the military generals stripped of their representative status, the one drawing particular attention is General Wang Chunning. he was the commander of the People's Armed Police Force. In fact, he had disappeared from public view since late last year. Speculation had been rife that he was under official investigation. This announcement, confirming his removal from the representative roster, has validated those suspicions. Wang Chunning is a second-generation revolutionary. His military career began in the Nanjing military region where his father had served. He was promoted through the ranks under Xi Jinping. In August of 2016, he was promoted to the commander of the Beijing Garrison Command. 11 months later, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant general. In April of 2020, he was transferred to serve as chief of staff of the People's Armed Police Force. That December, he was appointed commander of the People's Armed Police Force and promoted to the rank of general. His exceptionally rapid ascent is highly unusual, leading many to view him as a senior military commander whom Xi Jinping heavily relies upon within the armed forces. Xi Jinping places great importance on controlling the armed police force, which serves as the vanguard for suppressing the populace. His decision to entrust Wang Chunning with command of this force demonstrates the depth of his trust in him. Consequently, Wang Chunning's downfall is widely seen as a significant blow to Xi Jinping. However, another perspective suggests that Wang Chunning was actually detained in secret after his plot to oppose Xi Jinping, that was hatched with other princeling figures, was exposed. At the time, it was reported that Wang Chunning was among those arrested during Xi Jinping's sweeping purge under the guise of anti-corruption efforts. A large number of military officers were detained then, with some even being executed by firing squad within days. Also dismissed alongside Wang Chunning were Lieutenant General Zhong Lin, the head of the Logistics Support Department of the Central Military Commission, also Lieutenant General Goulet, the political commissar of the Joint Logistics Support Force of the Central Military Commission, and Lieutenant General Wang Zhibin, the Secretary of the Commission for the Discipline Inspection of the Rocket Force. According to the CCP's customary practice, this means that they have all been purged in political struggles. But Wang Chunning had been purged earlier. The news of the other three generals' downfall indicates that the scope of purges within the military is expanding. This aligns with recent reports that Chinese authorities have expanded their investigation into procurement corruption within the rocket force. Since 2023, the rocket force and the military equipment system have seen a large number of generals fall from grace due to massive corruption cases. The initial plan was to investigate corruption issues dating back to October of 2017. However, nearly 200 statements that were recently released by the rocket force reveal that investigations into procurement corruption within the force actually date back to 2016. Observers believe that this discrepancy reflects intense infighting among senior military leaders in the CCP. To grasp this perspective, we must conduct a thorough analysis. According to an announcement notice that was issued by the Equipment Development Department of the Central Military Commission in 2023, authorities are soliciting leads regarding violations and disciplinary offenses that were committed by experts during equipment procurement bidding evaluations since October of 2017. According to the unwritten rules of the CCP, procurement bidding involves multiple points of corruption. In addition to the procurement officers handling the actual operations and the opinions of the review experts, the leaders who ultimately sign the approval bear greater responsibility. Therefore, this investigation is less about pursuing the corruption of the experts and more about holding the relevant former leaders accountable. The Rocket Force was formally established on December 31st, 2015. It is the fourth independent military service branch alongside the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Its first commander was General Wei Fenghe. His tenure lasted from December 2015 to August 2017. October of 2017 marked 2 months after Wei Fenghe stepped down as commander of the rocket force. Therefore, the investigation at that time was not planned to target Wei Fenghe. However, the situation soon changed. 2 months later, on September 21st, 2023, Wei Fenghe was placed under investigation. He was subsequently stripped of his rank of general in the rocket force, and he was stripped of his status as a delegate to the 20th CPC National Congress, and his bribery case was transferred for prosecution. In other words, Wei Fenghe was purged shortly after the investigation began. So it remains a mystery exactly who the investigation was ultimately targeting. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember to leave a comment below the video. This is really helping us to be seen all around the world. The more people who watch Front Page, the more freedom-loving people the world will have. And please hit the like button and hit the notification bell after subscribing. And please share this video with your friends and family because everybody deserves to know the truth.